Hello lovelies, welcome to another video. I'm going to be doing something totally different today. Instead of talking about horror movies, I'm going to be talking about tarot. I thought that it was fitting because when I started on Twitter, I got a lot of messages asking about tarot, what it is, how you do readings, how do you remember the cards, what cards should you use, how do you get started, how do you do readings, and so on and so forth. There were a lot of questions and I didn't know how to answer all of them through text. I wanted to make a video, but I'm not comfortable showing myself, and being a VTuber isn't just plugging in a camera and a microphone. There's a little more to it, and it took a lot more time than I could do. Like, I couldn't make one instantly for those people that were asking questions. So I have my setup. I decided to make the video that is long overdue. So what is tarot? Well, tarot refers to packs of playing cards which were developed in the 15th century, probably in Italy. The cards were used to play a game similar to bridge by the nobles and the upperclassmen. They would play a game called tarocchi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The images were inspired by those who participated in the carnival parades during that time period, and it makes sense that they say carnival because carnival actually started in, I believe, Italy. It's now in Brazil too, I want to say. I could be completely wrong. Some also use the cards to tell stories because of the different figures that were on them, allowed them to make intricate tales, especially in a large group of people. Now, they didn't have the technology that we have today to entertain themselves, so these cards allowed them to tell those intricate tales of magic and wonder. The cards didn't become mystical or a divination tool until the late 18th century. If you want to know more about all of that, I will provide a link talking about more in-depth history of tarot. I didn't want to bore everybody with like the long history of it. So how did I get into tarot? My sister received a deck in college called the Sacred Circle Tarot, a Celtic pagan journey. I immediately fell in love with the deck, I should say, because of the artwork that was depicted on each card. So, because she saw that I had this love for the deck, she just gave it to me, which I am so grateful for. I've been doing tarot readings ever since, which was roughly 2003 or 4, I want to say. I would actually bring them to school all the time because they would help me relax after a stressful day or just to clear my head from the craziness of high school. And they were a great meditation tool for me. Well, my friends saw me using them and then would ask me to do readings for them. Then complete strangers started approaching me to do readings. And it was actually really incredible because I was getting the experience to do these readings and learn more about tarot in the process. And I could share it with others. I never charged anybody because I didn't think that was right because I was still learning. I didn't have all the knowledge of every card. I actually had to keep looking in the book for my answers. Well, I actually brought them up until I got in trouble in school for bringing them. Now, I attended a public trade school. It was not religious. And my trade was medical. And my teachers allowed us to have breaks, not just lunch, because of the complexities of the medical field and all the different terms and medical equipment and other stuff that we had to learn, so they let us have breaks. where we could play cards or just relax as long as we weren't loud and obnoxious. So my friend decided to take my cards out of my bag because I want you to do a reading right here, right now. I don't care. I didn't know how my peers would feel about the cards because I know some people see them as evil, even though they're not. So I was hesitant about it, but she refused to give in and took them out and told me, we can play cards. What's the difference? Well, I started setting up the spread to do a reading, and one of the girls saw it and she started screaming, and then everybody chimed in, screaming and yelling and freaking out into a mass panic, pressed up against the wall in a corner far, far away from me, calling me a bruja, witch, Satanist, you name it, I was called it. I honestly was terrified at that moment. I was scared for my life. I thought something bad was going to happen because I know what happens when people get scared. Bad things happen. I wasn't sure about my spirituality at that moment. I grew up Christian, but I didn't fit really in with that faith, so I started questioning a lot of different religions. And tarot, I didn't see being part of a faith until way later. But the teacher, to calm their hysteria, banned me from bringing them to school again and told me if she saw them that I'd be suspended. And I didn't want to risk that, so I just stopped bringing them. It didn't stop me from using them, though. I used them everywhere. Even on MySpace when that first came out, I was using them for friends. I was doing like different readings for them. It was just a lot of fun. So the Sacred Circle Tarot, A Celtic Pagan Journey, is a 78 card deck. And no, it's not depicted behind my character. None of the decks I talk about are behind my character. I just thought it was fitting, and they are beautiful. Whatever card deck those are. So the Celtic Pagan Journey deck is used for meditation and personal spiritual development, which I didn't actually know that. And it's surprising because that's exactly what I use it for, is meditation. Since my first deck, I've actually collected 2 others. I don't really collect tarot decks. I focus more on how they can help me spiritually than just, pretty pictures. So the first deck I received after the Sacred Circle Tarot deck was the Shapeshifter Deck, which is 81 cards and is used to help bridge the gap between people, animals, and nature by learning to recognize, call on, and use the energies of the natural world that reside within us through meditation. I was so happy when I received this because this is what I use my tarot decks for, is meditation. The third deck I purchased in Salem, Massachusetts, which is called the Deviant Moon Tarot Deck. It's 78 cards. It's used, in my opinion, to tap into the subconscious. I'll link all the information about the decks I use along with my favorite spreads in the description for further information. The Deviant Moon Tarot Deck, the reason why I purchased it was the artwork spoke to me. I love the night, and it has some horror elements to the deck. Some of the figures are really kind of creepy, but they're beautiful at the same time. The common spreads that I use are the Celtic Cross and the 3-card spread. I don't know how to explain the Celtic Cross without showing it first, so I'm going to link the Celtic Cross spread in the description. to give some insight into what it is used for, well, actually what I use it for, because I actually found a clear description of where you put each card and what each card represents. Now, the Celtic Cross can be done multiple ways, and everybody has different associations for each of the cards that are placed in each specific spot. So I'm just going to give you what I use and how I use it and what I associate each card for or with. The 3-card spread can be used for multiple things. One is the mind, body, and spirit. The other is past, present, and future. And it can also be used for advice. So you get the background, the problem, and then the solution or advice. Now, the past, present, and future, if you're using it for that, the future is never set in stone, which I learned from the Sacred Circle Tarot deck. The future is ever changing. And if you get, like, let's say you get death for the future, it doesn't mean that you're going to die or that somebody you know is going to die. It's not supposed to be taken literally. There's more to it than that. Usually what it means is it's an ending. So a relationship could be ending, or a friendship could be ending, a job could be ending. There's many different meanings behind the cards. So always look into it that way. Don't take it at face value. If you are curious to know more about tarot decks, spreads, or anything else, leave your questions in the comments or feel free to send me them on Twitter. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. If you'd like to know more about my spiritual journey, let me know in the comments as well. I'll consider making a video on the topic, and I'll even talk about what paganism is. Thank you so much for watching. Take care until next week.